Hello everyone, welcome to KlassPM, and this is Mr. Bilal. And in the previous videos we have discussed about the asexual reproduction and the various modes of the asexual reproduction. Now in this current video we will discuss about the sexual reproduction, what is sexual reproduction, how it takes place, and what is the important significance of the sexual reproduction. In case of sexual reproduction, in order to fulfill the conditions for the sexual reproduction, three conditions are very necessary. First condition is the gamete formation. There must be the gamete formation of the gametes in case of sexual reproduction. Unlike in asexual reproduction, where no gametes participates in the process of the sexual reproduction, in sexual reproduction the gamete participate, and it means that there are two parents which are involved in the sexual reproduction, unlike in the asexual reproduction where only single parent was involved. The process of the gamete formation occurs in males as well as in females. In males, the gamete formation is called the spermatogenesis. Because the male gamete is called the sperm, the formation of the sperm is called the spermatogenesis. In case of females, the gamete is called ovum or a second oocyte. Gamete formation is called the oogenesis, because the female gamete is called the ovum. So how gamete formation occurs, how spermatogenesis occurs, and how oogenesis occurs. The site of the spermatogenesis, that is the formation of sperm, is seminiferous tubules of the testes. You see here, this is the testes. There is a pair of the testes as far as in humans are concerned. A pair of testes lies in the scrotum region. Scrotum lies outside the body. This testes is made up of structural unit. This structural unit is seminiferous tubule. There are about 800 to 900 coiler tubules in a testes, in one testis, and that seminiferous tubule is the site for the sperm formation. It is also important to mention that sperm formation cannot occur inside the body because the body temperature is 37.5 degree, and at that very temperature sperm formation cannot occur. That's why these testes lie outside the body in the scrotal sac. There is formation of the gametes, sperms in the testes, seminiferous tubules. After that, these sperms are transported from seminiferous tubules, from the testes itself, into this coiled, this is the tube-like structure. Apart from this, there is another tube which is connected here from seminiferous tubules into this part is called the epididymis. This part is called the epididymis. After the formation of the sperms, these sperms are transported by a tube-like structure. This tube-like structure is called a vasa efferens, and from this vasa efferens, sperms reach from the seminiferous tubules, that is from the site of their synthesis, to the epididymis. The epididymis lies on the top pole of each testis, and this epididymis acts as a temporary storage of the sperms. It means that the sperms are temporarily stored in this epididymis from the seminiferous tubules. Next thing which is important to mention, that this epididymis is further connected by a tube-like structure. Here tube, this is a coiled tube, and this tube is called the vasa deferens. So it means that the sperms are further transported from epididymis via this vasa deferens. Is a coiled tubule. It's a very long. In epididymis, sperms actually acquires the motility. Here it is a temporary storage of food, no doubt, temporary storage of the sperm, no doubt, but this is also a calcium-rich environment where calciums are present. This calcium, when they enters into the sperm, it acquires the mobility, and the sperm transports from the epididymis into the vasa deferens. The vasa deferens acts as a permanent storage of the sperm. It means that the sperms can be stored here in this vasa deferens for a very long period of time, and during the course of the movement of the sperm via this vasa deferens, further from here, these ducts from the seminal vesicle, there is a pair of seminal vesicle, two seminal vesicles are there, and a tube arises from the seminal vesicle, and these tube fuses with this vasa deferens. So semen vesicle is responsible for secretion of the semen. About 60 to 65% of the total semen is secreted by the semen vesicle, and they are contributed to the sperm. In order for the sperm to move in an aqueous environment, this semen vesicle provides a fluid. This fluid is very, very important as far as it provides nutrition as well as for the sperm. It provides fructose, it provides glucose to this sperm. As the semen, because sperm here up to semen vesicle, it was sperm which was moving, but now the semen vesicle has provided 60 to 65% of the total fluid to this sperm. Now this semen moves down and here encounter with a gland. This gland is called the prostate gland. This prostate gland provides further 30 to 35% of the total fluid to this semen. And apart from that, this prostate gland provides actual motility to the sperm. It provides actual activity of the sperm. And further, if you see the semen, the color of semen is the milkish color. The milky color is due to the prostate secretion. As we move down from prostate, here you will see this vasa deferens further merges with the ejaculatory ductus, and ejaculatory ductus opens into the urethra, and urethra serves as a passage for the ejaculation of both semen as well as urine. It comes out through the external genitalia. And here you will see one more gland, that is bulbourethral gland. Bulbourethral gland, here it is responsible for providing lubrication during the sexual activity. Now finally semen moves out from the external genitalia and it is deposited into the female genital tract. So this is the gamete for sperm formation in case of males. Now second important aspect of sexual reproduction is the gamete fusion. The fusion of the gametes takes place in two different ways. If we see the fusion of gametes is called the fertilization. Fertilization means simply the fusion of male gamete as well as the female gamete. In case of humans, formation the fusion of sperm as well as ovum. But this fertilization is of further two types. Fertilization may be external fertilization or internal fertilization. In case of external fertilization, both male gamete as well as female gamete are released outside into the environment, and by chance those gametes and female gametes fuse to form zygote. This process is called external fertilization. It is commonly found in the fishes in the water. And the next type of the fertilization is called the internal fertilization. Internal fertilization occurs mostly in the land animals, including humans, where the fertilization takes place in the female body at a particular space. As far as humans are concerned, oviduct is the site where the fertilization takes place. Next is the meiosis. Until it is not meiosis, until meiosis is not there, the sexual reproduction is not possible, because gametes must be haploid in order to fuse to form the zygote, and zygote is the diploid. But if the diploid gamete is fused, zygote would be tetraploid, it would be unviable, it cannot be developed. So in order to fulfill the condition of the sexual reproduction, the gametes has to undergo the process of the meiosis. If meiosis occurs, then gametes are haploid and fertilization is possible, sexual reproduction is possible. But if meiosis is not there, then mostly the sexual reproduction is not possible, because only haploid gametes are viable, only they can form the zygote which is viable. But if diploid gametes fuse, they cannot form the zygote. If they form the zygote, that zygote cannot be viable, that cannot be developed. So these are the three aspects which are very necessary as far as sexual reproduction is concerned. This is unlike to asexual reproduction, where no meiosis was required, where no gametes was required, where not fusion of gametes was required. Only parent organs divided into multiple different ways to form their offspring, which were morphologically and as well as genetically similar. But here, in case of sexual reproduction, during the meiosis, during the formation of the gametes, there is a process of recombination. There is a process of the recombination crossing over. During the course of this meiosis, there is a genetic recombination. There are different recombinations so that the variations occur. It means that the offsprings in case of sexual reproduction, they will be similar to their parents, but they will not be identical to them, because their genetic content it would be different from their parents. And similarly, the characters would be a bit different. Characters would be mixed both from maternal side and both from paternal side. It is unlike in asexual reproduction. Characters are similar as well as identical to their parent. Here you see, in case of sexual reproduction, genetic variations are only due to the meiosis, because in case of meiosis, genetic recombination occurs. Not only genetic crossing over also occurs in case of the sexual reproduction. That's why you will find variations in the sexual reproduction. So this is the case of male reproductive tract. You will see firstly a pair of testes in the scrotum. which is made up of 900 to 1000 coiled tubules. Those tubules are called seminiferous tubules. Those seminiferous tubules are the site of the spermatogenesis. And apart from a pair of testes, there is the epididymis, which are present on the top of each testes. These epididymis act as in temporary storage of the sperm. This is a calcium-rich environment which provides further motility to the sperm. From seminiferous tubules to the epididymis, the sperms are transported to vasa efferens, and from epididymis is connected onwards by a tube-like structure which is highly chylid, and this tube is called the vasa deferens. The vasa deferens serves as the permanent storage for the sperm, and sperms are transported from epididymis via this tube, via this vasa deferens, further into the urethra. As the sperms move ahead through the vasa deferens, it will encounter with a pair of semen vesicle. There are the ducts of the semen vesicle which are fused with this vasa deferens, and these semen vesicles provide 60 to 60% of the total fluid to the sperm. Hence, this semen moves ahead, and before going ahead, this semen by the semen vesicle provides fructose, provides glucose and other nutrients to the sperm in order to develop and in order to mature and in order to get motility as well. As the semen now moves ahead, it will encounter a gland. That gland is called the bulbourethral gland. It has also duct. This duct is fused with the vasa deferens. Thus 30 to 30% of the remaining total fluid is provided by this prostate gland, and semen is milky in appearance due to the secretion by the prostate gland. The prostate gland is also responsible for motility as well as the activity of the sperm. As the semen moves ahead, there is bulbourethral gland. This bulbourethral gland provides mucus to the sperm, mucus during the lubrication in sexual activity. Finally, this vasa deferens moves into an ejaculatory duct, and this ejaculatory duct opens into the external urethra. This urethra serves as a passage for secretion of both sperm, for the semen as well as for the urine. And finally, there is glands pins, and these pins are utilized to deposit the semen into the vaginal tract during the sexual activity. So this is all about male reproductive tract. In the next video, we will discuss about the female reproductive tract and the process of the fertilization. Thank you.